Bringing you news that matters. Bringing you news that matters. Welcome to another edition of WIN TV. I'm your host, Denise Rollard Barnes, publisher of the Washington Informer. Please be sure to click on Facebook and let your friends and followers know that you're watching WIN TV right now. And don't forget to click like on Facebook and check out our YouTube channel to see some of our past shows. I hope you've had a chance to pick up a copy of the Washington Informer, which includes our home ownership issue published in observance of June, which is Home Ownership Month. Lots of great information in there and a whole series of articles that we'll be doing on how to make sure Black folks maintain their homes, not only in the District of Columbia, but in the region. We want to make sure that we find ways to build wealth. Be sure to stay with us at the end of our program for Bridge TV with media prints and the sounds of the DMV. So today we're going to be doing the show a little differently, just to make sure our first guest, Maryland Lieutenant Governor Boyd K. Rutherford, can get to a previously scheduled engagement. Lieutenant Rutherford is the 9th Lieutenant Governor of the state of Maryland, elected to office with Governor Larry Hogan in 2014 and re-elected in 2018. He's the first Republican Lieutenant Governor to ever be re-elected in Maryland. And for our purposes, we're always happy to note that he is the second African-American to hold that office. Without further ado, I'd like to, the third, okay, correct me. And we'll talk about that when we bring him in, which we're going to do now with Washington Informer's Prince George's County editor, William Ford. Welcome to WIN TV, Lieutenant Rutherford. Thanks for correcting me. I appreciate that. And now that you've corrected me, educate me. I know that it's you. I know that it was Lieutenant Governor, why am I having brain freeze?
Anthony Brown and Michael Steele. Michael Steele was the first, and then Anthony Brown, now Congressman Brown, and then myself.
Well, I'm glad that you're keeping the seat warm.
There's only been nine lieutenant governors in the state history.
Yeah, that's well, you know, I think that you're representing well, and I'm just so excited. I'm glad that Will is here. I just want to say my 2 cents first. You know, we've been wanting to get you on the show since you were a candidate for office.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, we want folks to know, who you are and all the work that you've been doing out there and I say out there because I'm in the district, but in Prince George's County, in the state of Maryland, but particularly since our readers are in Prince George's County, and William covers the county. I know you know him well. So
right, I've seen William from time to time, and you, I guess you didn't know that I'm a native Washingtonian.
Oh,
And my mother was. Now, you're related to Calvin Rolark?
I am his daughter. I am.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
So
right.
yeah.
Yes, yeah, so like we have a family conversation going on here. So. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope to have you back again. I'm going to turn it over to Will now, and thanks again for joining us.
Thank you. Then Governor Rutherford, how are you, sir?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, good. Let's have a nice little chat, shall we, before you go. Wanted to let viewers know about your work you've been doing with the Maryland State, the Equity Task Force.
Oh, yeah.
And with the coronavirus, the details as of today, the positivity rate is below 1%. I think I saw the Health Department report 71.5% of those received at least one dose of vaccine. And I think the CDC is ranking Maryland among the top states in the nation for its vaccination efforts, excuse me. So from when you've done your travel, sir, what did you learn from seeing nonprofit organizations and churches stepping up to help residents get vaccinated?
Yeah, one of the things that we did, well, thank you, and that's a great question. One of the things we did early on, because there was a lot of concern, and still concern, that particularly people in the African-American and the Latino communities might be resistant to getting vaccines. And particularly since, the African-American community was hit pretty hard with regard to infections as well as fatalities, wanted to make sure we got to the people who were most vulnerable early. And so we reached out to the churches in particular, nonprofits also, but mainly the churches because, they are trusted voices. They're places where people, feel comfortable and feel safe and have a long history of, direct involvement. And, many of the churches, particularly in the African-American community, they have an older congregation. And so, the first priority for people, to get vaccinated, after the nursing homes, because that's where we saw a lot of fatalities, were older Marylanders. And so we reached out to the churches who were very welcoming in terms of, allowing us to come in and work with them to get vaccines to not just their congregations, but the communities around. And so it was very successful. It has been, and it will continue to do some of that. We're shifting now, and we can talk a little bit further about how, things have changed now that we have, as you said, about 71% of adults have gotten at least one vaccine, and I think we're at 57% total population that's fully vaccinated. And I want to say it's 87%, 89% of those 65 and above have received at least one vaccine. But there's still pockets that we haven't reached. And so we're shifting our strategy to reach these pockets.
Is there a little, I don't know if you can give a full strategy, but what's maybe summarize what's a little bit of strategy to reach those individuals, and also advice for some who still are a little leery about being vaccinated?
Yeah. First, the advice on those who are leery is that there really isn't any need to be leery of receiving the vaccine. The vaccines work. They have been tested. They're still being monitored. People first started receiving vaccines in the trials back in August of last year, and they're still being monitored in terms of the effect. We saw early on the impact of the vaccines because the first priority group, people may remember back in December and January when we were first getting vaccines in the state, it was a very limited supply that we were receiving, and that was nationwide. But the priority was nursing homes and frontline healthcare workers. And we picked nursing homes because half of our fatalities at that point were nursing home related. Because these people were already very fragile, and this virus attacks the weaknesses in your system. And so we saw when those individuals were getting vaccinated, we saw the fatality rate at nursing homes just drop through the floor. We saw infections with frontline healthcare workers who got vaccinated go down substantially, that they were not getting infected at the rates that they were previously. And the ones who were vaccinated were not getting, weren't getting sick. And we're seeing numbers now that, with the fact that we have, over 50%, close to 60% of Marylanders fully vaccinated, and it's a higher number than that if you go with just adults, that, we're seeing our numbers go down substantially. As you mentioned, the positivity rate is below 1%. The cases per capita or cases per 100,000 are down to an extremely low level. And when we say the positivity rate being below 1%, if you remember back almost a year ago, the World Health Organization said if it was at 5%, you could open your economy, and we're now below 1%. So, the vaccines have made a significant difference. And so in terms of shifting the strategy, early on, once we started getting more and more vaccines, we wanted to get them into as many arms as possible, as quickly as possible. And that's where we had the mass vaccine sites. The first one was at FedEx Field, or not FedEx Field, Six Flags, excuse me. Six Flags was the first one, to try to do 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 people a day, 5,000 people a day if we could. We opened up at M&T Stadium where the Ravens play in Baltimore, and the Baltimore Convention Center, and then other places around the state, mass vac sites. The amount of people going to those sites is going down substantially. It just is not as productive as it once was. All those who wanted to get the vaccines early on have gotten them and are getting them. And so we're now shifting. While we were always doing community sites, we're shifting a lot more focus on communities and using the data we have in terms of zip codes and census tracts where we see a low penetration of vaccines. And we're moving to doing more pop-up type of just, Saturday, we're going to be at such and such shopping center and, come get a shot. I will say that with about 700 pharmacies around the state providing vaccines, that's making a big difference too. But we have to reach those people, like you first mentioned, who are hesitant, and talking to them. And if we can get close to them, like with these pop-up sites, with going to some of these events that occur where people are going to for various reasons, maybe it's the barbecue festival, maybe it's a local brewery, and they haven't gotten a vaccine, we may be able to catch them at a time when they say, yeah, I was thinking about getting it, and so I'm going to move in that direction.
Thank you, sir. I want to make sure we respect your time. We've got about a few more minutes left. Mm-hmm. Father's Day is next week. And I see a lovely picture partly behind you, like a family portrait.
Yeah, from a couple of years ago on one of the election nights, yeah.
All right. And wanted to make sure, and also, what's the significance or meaning of Father's Day for you? And how do you celebrate?
Well, I'm probably not as, but Father's Day for me, and usually the thing that I ask for, for those of us who are married, the wife often will ask you, what do you want for dinner? And I'm pretty simple when that comes to it. My favorite meal is fried chicken. So that's what I ask for. And otherwise, I just want to be left alone. I know that sounds anti-family or something, but I just let me be me. Let me just sit and vegetate, read the paper, actually read a newspaper. Just let me be. Just let me be.
You sound like an everyday father. A lot of fathers would like to have just that quiet time.
Yeah, just the quiet time where there's, where I'm not necessarily doing something, even though you sit around for a while and then you see something that you need to do in the house and you just start doing it. But at least it's because I wanted to versus I had to. So.
Well, Lieutenant Governor Rutherford, I think. Oh, I wanted to just say,
Oh.
do you have a Rutherford fact that you do? I've seen on Twitter. You happen to have one today?
Let's see. Okay. Well, just off the top of my head, I mentioned being the, ninth lieutenant governor. There's only been 8 since 1978. There was one in the 1860s. Christopher Cox was from the American Union Party. And in 1864, of course, the Civil War was still going on. In the new Constitution, Maryland's Constitution of 1864, it created the lieutenant governor's position, which Chris Cox became lieutenant governor. He was a doctor. And it also is the same Constitution that abolished slavery in Maryland, which happened to be during the Civil War, toward the tail end, I should say, of the Civil War. And it was almost 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. As I continue to go on, it's not going to be a short story, but, a lot of, with the Juneteenth celebrations that come up, I often say to people, well, Juneteenth is great to recognize, but we should probably be celebrating more the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which eliminated slavery, because the Emancipation Proclamation did not eliminate slavery. Only in the states that were in rebellion did it eliminate slavery. So states like Maryland and Delaware and Kentucky were still slave states throughout the Civil War. And so it wasn't until 1864, the new Constitution that created a lieutenant governor, but also abolished slavery in Maryland, is when Maryland actually got out of the slave business. And it wasn't until about a year and a half later, not quite a year and a half later, that the 13th Amendment was ratified, that ended slavery in the entire Union. So that's a little bit of history, or other fact, that the Maryland State Constitution 1864 is very significant, I think, to Marylanders.
Thank you very much, sir. If anyone hasn't learned anything, they learned today. Thank you, sir. Have a very good weekend.
Okay, take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, Will. That was quite an interesting conversation. And I see that the Lieutenant Governor seems to be quite a historian. And it's good during this Juneteenth celebration. Every state has their own story. And I think it's important. My dad was a Texan, and he always talks about Juneteenth, and he died an angry man over what happened to the Black folks in Texas because of the 2-year delay in freeing them once the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. But we all have our stories. DC considered the first freed. I know Philadelphia has a story, and Pennsylvania, Maryland has a story. So I'm glad he was here to share with us, and I think he'll be coming back. Is there anything you didn't get to ask him that you had wanted to put in there?
Well, yeah. There was one little thing I wanted to touch on about him and being a registered Republican, and just his experiences about that. But hopefully we can get him on again and we can touch on that.
All right, good. And if anybody else has questions, make sure you send them here to us at news@washingtoninformer.com. Again, send your questions to news@washingtoninformer.com. We'll make sure that Prince George's editor, Will Ford, gets those questions, and the next time he has the opportunity to speak with the Lieutenant Governor, you'll get those questions answered, right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. So I'm going to have to leave a little early today, but I'm going to be joining the mayor, Muriel Bowser, at a fireside chat with Dr. Fauci and DC health leaders. And the program addresses the current state of COVID-19. And we're going to focus on vaccines, and particularly vaccines for children under the age of 16, and especially those now who are under the age of 12. So you can live stream that program if you'd like. It will start after this one ends, but make sure that you'll see why I'm gone, and we'll have some replacements today. I see my mother's on the watching, I want to wish my mom, Vera Abbott, a happy birthday today. June 11th, this is her birthday. And if she doesn't mind me saying it, well, she'll put it in the chat and then she can tell me whether it's okay to tell her to say which one. But I'm very, very proud of her and very excited that we'll be spending her birthday together this evening. Despite the rain, it's not going to keep this party from happening. So I don't know how many of you all know that I love to dance and I love good music. So in honor of Black Music Month, I have the pleasure of bringing on DJ Dirty Rico, longtime favorite in DC, and along with singer and songwriter Gina Rose. And our senior writer, Stacey Brown, will be continuing the show when I leave. He will be speaking to Tony Goodman, a member of the Men's Health Network and a prostate cancer survivor, and Dr. Reginald L. Robinson, a cardiologist and member of 100 Black Men, as we continue to lift up Black men, fathers, and boys this month and bring attention to Black men's health. By the way, don't forget, next Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday is Father's Day. You need to go out there and get those cards. And if nothing else, if you don't have anything planned, do what the Lieutenant Governor said, just leave them alone. Give them some peace on Friday, on Sunday, I guess it's the 21st. Or the 20th, Sunday the 20th. And while I'm mentioning that too, I just want to throw in quickly that there's going to be a Black Fathers motorcade going through the city. Chuck Hicks and a lot of folks participating. I understand there are going to be hundreds of cars riding through the city, wishing dads a happy Father's Day. They're going to start over here at the Rise Center at St. Elizabeth's on Martin Luther King Avenue on Sunday morning. We'll have some information up on our website in case you all want to join. So yes, we're going to make this memorable Father's Day. Our Black men need it and our Black fathers deserve it. So listen out for that. And then at the end of the program, as I said, Bridge TV will bring us news from the media prints and sounds of the DMV. So before we bring on DJ Dirty Rico, let's watch this week's WIN TV news broadcast by reporter Curtis Knowles.
This is Curtis Knowles reporting with WIN TV News. It has been officially confirmed that Prince George's County will resume full in-person learning this coming fall. PG County School Chief Monica E. Goldson stated schools will still follow CDC guidelines, such as social distancing and mask wearing. Goldson expressed her eagerness for students' return, stating, "While school is a place of learning, it's also a place where we learn not only content, but social skills as well." Unused doses of the Johnson & Johnson coronavirus vaccine, potentially numbering in the millions, could possibly go to waste. The FDA briefly paused the distribution of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine due to concerns of a rare blood clotting condition. Even when the FDA rescinded this order, people were still skeptical of the vaccine variant. The CDC reports that 21.4 million of the Johnson & Johnson vaccines distributed, only half have been administered. Hopefully, these unused vaccines won't go to waste, as the United States sets to give excess vaccines to Africa. The vaccine doses will be distributed through the COVAX program, which is backed by the World Health Organization. President Biden stated that by the end of June, the U.S. will have shared 80 million of its doses with the world. COVAX's first batch of vaccines has allocated 5 million to the continent of Africa. Great Britain's first Black Studies professor, Kehinde Andrews, seeks to reunite the Black diaspora. Andrews works in the School of Social Sciences at Birmingham City University in Great Britain. Andrews has penned multiple books, with his latest being The New Age of Empire: How Racism and Colonialism Still Rule the World. His book details the damaging effects of European colonialism and how it has split the Black diaspora. I also wanted to show how this history still shapes what the West is today, Andrews states. This is Curtis Knowles with WIN TV News.
Welcome to WIN TV. Boy, you were rocking and rolling there.
What's
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good, DJ Dirty Rico. Tell me, first of all, how did you get that name?
Long story short, James Funk from Rare Essence Proper Utensils, DJ James Funk. He actually gave me that one night when we were at the club on 1213 K Street. Funny story, but it's not it's not short enough for me to tell on the show. So yeah, James Funk gave me the name. It just came off. So it was crazy. It was great.
Hey, well, every DJ's got to have a name. You got to have a brand, and it has really stuck with you. And hey, you've been sort of the most influential DJs in DC since 1991, an on-air personality. I mean, folks know the name and they know the music. How did you get into this?
I actually started when I was 13, messing around in the house with my mom and my aunts. They had a social club called Club Near. And I was actually the DJ that they would have whenever they had the little events at the house. Whenever they threw a little something at the house, I was DJing. All the other kids had to go to bed, and I was the only one still up as a youngster, but because I was DJing. And God bless my dad, Rusty. Used to be DJ Rusty. He got me into my first club spot when I was 18.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I don't want to ask you how old you are now and how many years that's been. I can ask you how many years that's been. How long has it been?
I'm 51 great and feeling good. But I'll be 51 come August, so I'm all right with it. There's no shame in that. I'm proud of that. Right now, you better be proud of how old you are, especially if you're above the dirt. You better be happy about it.
No question. No question. So, I mean, this is Black Music Month. Right. Mm-hmm. And so what is it that makes this month special for you?
I get to showcase a whole lot of different genres of music to people. A lot of people that don't know about jazz music, I play a little bit of it. A lot of people don't know about certain flavor of R&B music, I play it. A lot of people that probably have never experienced a live go-go band, I get to showcase my own music, go-go music, and give it to the people. And it's just like so many other different genres of music that Black people actually perform, and a lot of people aren't aware of it. A lot of people might not think a Black person would sing classical music, unless they see it on the TV or opera music, unless they go somewhere and it's an opera singer somewhere doing the national anthem, man, he or she happens to be a Black person. But it's like we are engaged in so many reggae music. It's ways house music. Oh man, acoustic music. It's so many different breeds of music that Black people are involved in, and it's like I get to go ahead and throw that out there to the masses and reel them in and get them to whatever it is that they haven't had to their ear. So it just helps for me.
So I'm getting ready to tell them myself, but I know, first of all, I don't know how much you've been able to actually DJ publicly, probably not at all during COVID. Let me ask you that. How has COVID affected your business, your opportunities to play at events or to perform?
Well, it's been all right. As far as the business wise, as far as being, in the clubs or on stage, because I also DJ for Raheem Devon, and we haven't been on tour doing anything for the 16 months. But far as doing weddings, maybe any type of birthday parties, small birthday parties where it's probably like where would normally be 150 people was probably like only 50 or 75. Wedding receptions were knocked down to small strength of numbers. But it's been okay because we also, a lot of DJs, we've been doing things on social media. We've been on Twitch, it's a gamers app that, everybody has jumped to, and a lot of DJs, DJ Easy, DJ Mix, DJ Gemini, DJ Frisco, mad DJs. It's like crazy. All of us have been, actually doing that. Versus, just sitting around and just practicing by ourselves. Well, we still practice by ourselves in the house. But, doing it on Twitch actually gives us an avenue to make, make us feel like we're actually performing for folks, because we actually are, because everybody's watching and people are engaging with us in the chat. So it's kind of like being on stage without the full-fledged stage presence, but it's still been nice.
So going back to the embarrassing question for me, but I go to when I'm at events and there are DJs, our crowd always seems to ask for the same 2 or 3 songs so that we can get out there and do the what are the songs? What are the dances, Sherry? The line dances. You know what they are,
right?
And it's just there's one or two of them, and all of a sudden everybody, all the folks get up and start dancing. I mean, that's this generation. What's the music that, let's say, the younger generation asks for? I mean, what gets them up? Because do they dance? And what gets them up and moving?
They dance a little bit.
Not like us, right?
not like the 35 and older would, but they dance a little bit. They got their own little dance crazes. I mean, it's a lot of dances that happen to hit TikTok. A lot of music happens to hit TikTok from the younger generation, and I'm not mad at it. It's kind of like getting my ear adapt to their sound. It's a little different than listening to Maze featuring Frankie Beverly. Listening to Lil Yachty, Lil Baby, or Da Baby, or it's different than listening to Parliament Funkadelic or listening.
No question.
Or listening to Rare Essence. It's different, but it's I say the whole thing is with the music that is now, is how when it came down to how hip hop music made a transition to crunk, to how hip hop music has now made a transition to the trap music sound, and how reggae music made a transition from reggae to reggaeton to calypso, all that. It's like you got to get down with it, because all music is just like how clothes are. It moves and changes, so you got to get down with the change.
Yeah, but I'm still playing those same old songs from
I'm not
Earth, Wind and Fire, Stevie. I'm still playing the same old music.
I'm not mad at that. I would too. I still do. Trust me.
So, is there any music that you don't play, DJ Rico, that Dirty Rico, that you don't? You don't. It's like if you get a request, it's like I just don't go there. Is there? Because you said you play all kinds of genres of music. So, what is it that you kind of stay away from, if anything?
It's nothing that I try to stay away from.
Okay.
I can do country music. I can do gospel music. I can do jazz music. I can do all R&B. I can do all reggae. I can do, if I had to, I can do folk music. So to me, it doesn't matter. I can change it up. It's like when it comes down to being a DJ that loves music, you got to be able to go with how the room is set.
Right.
The people coming in set the room. The people coming in set the tone for how you actually play. And if you're not one that takes time out to read the room, it's gonna be a long night. It's gonna be a long night.
So, two things. One, I mean, you talked about country music, and looking at the briefly at the Country Music Awards. People are saying it's not your mother or your father's Country Music Awards anymore. They're more of us performing and getting involved in the music. It's more diverse. Have you had times when people have asked or requested, country music?
Yes.
At parties?
Yes, I actually have.
Have you seen it more?
I've seen it on quite a few different occasions. A wedding I did, I want to say in December of 2020. It was a little something that some of the folks did want some country western music, and they had already had it set for me. We talked about the music. I want to say probably like a month prior too, and they were saying, yeah, well, we want a little bit of country music. You got this, you got that. I'm like, yeah, and even if I didn't have it at that time, I made sure I had it at that time when it was time to get it. So, but what was so crazy is what they were asking for country music wise. I had it. So I was
Right.
already set. So it's like you gotta have so much in your laptop, in your library right now. Don't think just because you got those 600 songs, you're gonna wish you had 610 more.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
So, I mean, the DJ business, how's it faring? I mean, and what sets you apart from, there are people that are trying to get into it. People have long careers. You've had a fantastic career in the business. But how is the business going? Is it something where, it's just a few of you all? Is it growing? Is it, just what's the temperature out there?
Well, it's definitely growing. It's hot. The temperature's hot. The temperature's hot. And I say this to anybody who wants to be a DJ. Don't just do it for a hobby. It's not a hobby for me. It's never been a hobby for me. It's something that I actually chose as a career. It's something that I love as a career. It's something that I love to do. I advise anybody who wants to be a DJ, don't just get into it to get in the way, because if you're just getting into it to get in the way, just getting into it because you think the money is fast and you're getting into it because you think the lady's just going to let you. No, you're in the way. You got to get into it and you got to learn the music. You got to know how to play what, when to play what, and when not to play something. You gotta love this to actually be in it. And it's something that I've been loving doing for the longest time. So many DJs are in it now. It's even, the list has gotten longer now than I've ever seen.
The other thing too that I wonder, and you can tell me, we've got awards. I talked about country music awards. We've got, the BET awards. We've got all kinds of awards. It's almost like the newspaper business when everybody celebrates the writers, but nobody celebrates the photographers, right?
Right.
Is there a DJ awards program? Do you all compete with each other? Is there, I mean, have you won awards? How does that work?
I've won a few. I got trophies out there. So I thought I had some back here. I won a few. Yeah, I won a few. I've actually been in a few DJ competitions here in Washington, D.C., and I've also been in a few competitions in New York, been at a competition in Miami, and been in a competition in L.A. And when I was in L.A., I actually came in second. And one in New York, I came in third, and one in Miami, I came in second. So it's like, but the one at home, I think when I was actually in the DJ battle here in DC, I think I kind of went a little bit harder here at home than I did when I was out of town. But it's like, really is, for me, I don't, for the DJs that show that love and respect for what it really is, I don't like to get into a battle type situation with any of the DJs. It comes down where we got to do a versus from time to time, but it's all love and it's love and fair game.
Right.
But you have some that sometimes you got to get that slap on the wrist too. It happens. I mean, it goes that. It's like that. It's like that in any sport. So it's
That's
like,
right, especially the newbies, right? You got to get them prepared.
Yeah, sometimes you got slap on the wrist. So I've had my fair slap on the wrist from DJ Cool, and from DJ Easy, also from DJ Flex, from my brother, because if it wasn't for DJ Flex, I would have never been in radio to the extent that I'm in, like right now.
Wow.
For him and cats like Donnie Simpson, I don't think I've been in radio that long.
Well, I want to thank you so much for being with us, for celebrating Black Music Month with us, and for keeping us dancing. I can't wait to get on the dance floor where you DJ, and I'm gonna show you some of my moves.
Yes, ma'am.
I think I still have one or two.
Hey, If you can pat your leg, you all good. Don't matter.
That's right.
Don't matter.
Especially the line dances. I'm good at those.
It's a lot of them. So if you know them, you good. You all right.
Well, not all. I know two.
Okay. Wait, somebody teach you the transition, so you'll be all right.
All right. I'm happy about that. I want to thank Stacey Palmer too for helping us to get you on, and just for I'm sorry, Sherry, it's all family here, but Stacey's on the line too, and I want to thank her for all she does to support WIN TV. But thank you for being with us, and come back anytime. Whatever you're doing, we want to know more about it, and just keep us happy doing what we like to do, and that is to move and groove.
Hey, no doubt. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me on.
All righty. All right. Have a good one. I'm trying to be hip, Sherry. I'm trying to be hip. Do they still use the word groove? I don't know. But anyway, that's what I do. I groove. So now I'd like to bring on, I think Gina Rose is coming up. We got a video from her. Boy, stay tuned. This is a woman with a gorgeous voice, and we're so happy to have her with us. All right, that is none other than Gina Rose. I'm so glad that she's with us. And at this point, I'm going to bring on Stacey Brown, our national news reporter, but also with the National Newspaper Publishers Association, host of the morning show, Tell It Like It Is. And I gotta go, Stacey. Did I say it wrong?
That's okay. You got to run, Denise. Thanks for having me, though. And the name of the show is Let It Be Known.
Let it be known. Well, you still tell it like it is, right?
I try.
So, yeah, I'm getting ready to go. I got to run over here to this program with the mayor. But, Stacey, thank you for picking up here. And Gina, is Gina Rose there?
Yes, I'm here.
Gina, beautiful, beautiful. And she said that she would sing for us, Stacey. So if you got a song in mind, she might carry a note or two for us. But I'm going to turn it over to both of you all. I know you do a great job. And Gina, nice meeting you. And thank you for joining us here.
Too. Thank you.
All righty.
Great. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Gina. Gina,
yes.
that was fantastic.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. When did you start singing? Where did you start singing? Who do you get all that greatness from?
Oh, wow. Well, first of all, the gift comes from above. Always acknowledge that first. But, I started singing when I was very young. My family told me like around 3 years old, they started to notice that, I was singing, but I didn't think I noticed it until like the end of elementary school, going into like middle school. I was like singing a lot and writing songs. And I was like, okay, I'm loving this. So very young.
Wow. Is there any particular cover you like to do? Any particular artist you like to do?
I like to do a variety. I don't like to stay limited at all. So, I'm pretty open. It just depends on what my show is going to be. And I kind of fill out my vibe and then do my set list from that,
And how can folks follow you, Gina? We want to know when you're performing again and things like that. Is there a website, social media?
Absolutely. My website is gina-rose.com. I'm on Facebook, Gina Rose Music, Instagram, Miss Gina Rose, MSGINAROSE. And yes, I actually do have an upcoming show next Thursday at the Blue Dolphin here in Maryland. It's myself, legendary Michael Muse, Camise Lee, and we're going to put on a fantastic show. So I am so excited for that too.
Well, I'm sure everyone else is excited, Gina. We appreciate you so much. I think it's time to bring on Dr. Reginald Robinson, but Chevry will let me know. But in the meantime, Gina, so next Thursday is Black Music Appreciation Month.
Yes.
What is it that you take from Black Music Appreciation Month?
Black music is the foundation overall, and it has sparked all these different genres in general. So we have to give, acknowledgement to that. And I'm glad that we have Black Music Month, but Black music should be celebrated all year round, but that was the foundation of us as a people. That's how we communicated, during slavery. It was through music, it was through song. So that is just the foundation of who we are as a culture, and it should be celebrated, like I said, all the time. But we focus on this month for it, and I appreciate that for sure.
What's interesting is, so a couple of weeks ago we observed the 50th anniversary of DC's own Marvin Gaye's What's Going On.
Yes.
This month, the Temptations start their 60th anniversary celebration. So you talk about great Black music. We're talking about two Motown legends right there. And for Juneteenth, Stephanie Mills is returning to the music business, and she's releasing a song called Let's Do the Right Thing. So a lot going on, Gina, and we'll be hearing from you. Gina, is there an artist you'd like to do a duet with?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question. Wow, I can't even think of one off the top of my head.
So many.
I can't. There's so many. I would just be blessed to do it with anybody. I love singing in general. So, I would be open to anybody, any genre as well.
Well, Gina, we certainly appreciate you so much, and stay tuned, everyone, for Bridge TV with Media Prints and the Sounds of DMV. Gina, thanks for joining us. Right now we're going to bring on 100 Black Men member and cardiologist Dr. Reginald L. Robinson. Dr. Robinson has an office at MedStar Cardiology Associates, and he specializes in preventive cardiology, vascular medicine, congestive heart failure. Good afternoon, Dr. Robinson. Welcome to WIN TV.
How are you doing, Stacey? Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Dr. Robinson, let's just jump right into this. What are some of the common heart diseases that Black men suffer?
Oh, can I just point out something? Denise earlier talked to the Lieutenant Governor. She talked about about history, and then she talked about COVID. What a lot of people don't know is there's a beginning in our history that we talked about pandemics. Onesimus was an enslaved person owned by Cotton Mather's, and he named him after an enslaved person in the Bible, and it stood for usefulness. And some of those early enslaved people, he actually was able to show them how to prevent smallpox by rubbing pox from someone else on another person. And of course, he didn't get credit for that. So we're in an era where we're questioning a lot of things. I just want to throw that out from a historical perspective.
Hey, good. It's always good to hear some history coming from a doctor.
Yes.
Go ahead.
When you talk about cardiovascular disease, there's a whole bunch of different things that we could talk about. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, heart attack, stroke, heart failure, include obesity and diabetes in there, because diabetes is just like a cardiac equivalent. But I would say hypertension is one of our biggest issues in our community that can affect a lot of different areas, can affect the brain, can affect the heart, can affect the kidneys, and it's probably our leading cause of congestive heart failure is uncontrolled hypertension.
Well, and so you just really described too why heart disease is so prevalent in the Black community. Let me ask you, Dr. Robinson, are there actions that men can take to have healthy hearts or prevent heart disease?
I think being proactive with your care. And I like to tell people that we would never go into a store or go somewhere where we didn't like the service, right? You would go somewhere else. And we should demand that same kind of respect and outcome with our health. So if you go to a physician that's not really giving you the information that you need, find another one. It's a little harder to do that nowadays since many of the primary care doctors are backed up and booked up. But 60% or more of the things that we deal with can be modified just by lifestyle changes, right? How we eat, how we exercise, some of those factors. So that's a big component of how we can modify and change our lifestyle by getting out and walking most days of the week. You don't necessarily need a whole bunch of exercise equipment if you can't afford it. And just minimizing a lot of the foods that we know can make us obese and make us more at risk of cardiovascular disease.
Yeah, and let me add to that too, Dr. Robinson. How important could you express to our viewers, for Black men in particular, Black people in particular, how important it is to really talk to your primary care doctor, to open up to him, to have a primary care doctor that you can really express yourself to?
It's like your pastor almost, right? If you have a good relationship with your pastor, you feel comfortable with doing that. And that's the kind of relationship you would hope to have with your physician, because these are serious things. And people tell me a lot of their deepest secrets and things that can actually impact their health. We don't know, if I don't know what kind of stress you're under or other things that's in your environment that's impacting, I can't really look at the whole picture. So it's extremely important. I sometimes jokingly say that men will come into the doctor's office if they're having some issues with their, say, erectile dysfunction, versus if they have, some cardiovascular issues, because that's something immediately in your face that's saying, okay, this is not working, so I better go get it checked out. But there are a lot of things that could be going on that you need to check out, even if you don't feel anything, like hypertension, which is a silent killer.
Yeah, Dr. Robinson going below the belt, guys.
That's right. Got to.
and another quick segue, Dr. Robinson, you know that for centuries, forever, Black people in the medical community just didn't really see eye to eye. We didn't have that trust. If you can briefly talk to us about that aspect of it as well.
Well, I mean, that's a barrier that we'll have to continue dealing with. We're dealing with that with the COVID vaccine as well, and the trust. And people bring up certain experiences like Tuskegee and Henrietta Lacks, and those are different, but it's still, something that may develop mistrust in the medical community. And one of the issues that we see is that they don't see enough people that look like them a lot of time when they go into the doctor's office. Not saying that other people can't deliver the same amount of care. Levi Watkins, an African-American physician at Hopkins, wrote a book, You Don't Live on My Block or My Street. And that just talks about really being able to understand the cultural differences. And, everyone does that. White people do it when they want to go to a specific physician. Some women may only want to see a woman physician. And I see many of our folks that really feel more comfortable, and they can really let their guard down when they come in to see someone that looks like them. And that's an important factor, that you can trust that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Robinson, last question. If we have heart damage or a previous heart attack, are we more likely to have another heart attack, or can the heart be repaired?
Well, again, timing is of the essence. So it depends on how soon you present after having your heart attack. And what's also most important, stroke. If you have stroke symptoms, think of FAST, like you run fast, yes. Face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, slurred speech, and T for time is the most important part. So if you have any of those factors, call 911. The faster you get in, the more likelihood you can recover from it. So time is of the essence.
Wow. Well, Dr. Robinson, we really appreciate you. Dr. Reginald L. Robinson, MedStar Cardiology Associates. Thanks so much. This has been a great conversation. I wish we had more time.
My pleasure.
I don't want to lose favor with our producer. She's hard on us, Dr. Robinson. So,
my pleasure.
Thank you. So joining me now is Tony Goodman. He's a prostate cancer survivor, and he's here representing the Men's Health Network. Welcome, Tony.
Welcome, Stacy. It's a blessing meeting you and others. So I just want to thank you for being on here and just being able to share my personal testimony. First of all, I'm director of the Healing and Soaking Rooms of Montgomery County, Maryland, and I'm an ordained minister at Living Word International Christian Church in Silver Spring, Maryland, and I am a prostate cancer survivor. I survived prostate cancer for 8 years, and I'm thankful to the Lord Jesus for that.
Well, that is great news. Tony, were there any signs and symptoms before your diagnosis?
I had no signs of prostate cancer symptoms. My symptoms really dealt with shortness of breath. When I would walk up and down my stairs, I would have shortness of breath. So I went to see my doctor because I thought I was having a heart attack. And a nurse practitioner waited on me. She was very thorough. She checked my heart. She said she thought I had a heart murmur. Then, she took a sample from my blood and had it tested for my PSA. When the results came back, my PSA level was like 2.8, 2.9. And when she had gone over my medical records, she saw that the previous year it was 1.8, 1.9. So she recommended that I go to a urologist.
Wow.
And when I went to that urologist, Frank Nizo at the Chesapeake Urology in Columbia, Maryland, this man was thorough. He said, I don't think that you have prostate cancer, but I want to schedule you for a biopsy. So we had a biopsy. This was in the fall of 2011. And 12 tissue samples were taken, 9 were benign, non-cancerous, and 3 were cancerous. So then we went on and we talked about all the different treatment methods for prostate cancer.
Wow. And so what type of treatment did you have personally?
I had my prostate removed. I didn't want to do chemo and radiation because I know it killed some of the bad cells, but as well as some of the good cells. So I just chose that method.
Mm.
And each treatment method has its own advantages and disadvantages.
Yeah. So with that said, can you briefly tell us maybe 1 or 2 of the advantages and 1 or 2 of the disadvantages?
Well, for example, with chemo and radiation, and I know a lot of friends had that. Some of them had issues with neuropathy, not being able to feel, like when they walked and stuff. So I know that was a disadvantage. And I also knew that it killed, the bad cells, which is a good thing, but it also killed some of the good cells. So I didn't want to go through that. And at the same time, I was going through the diagnosis with the beginning stages of prostate cancer. A close friend of mine had stage 4 colon cancer. So I would go sometime and take him to his treatments. I would follow up with him, visit him all the time. So I saw all the stuff that he went through, and I knew I did not want that for myself. But I also want to say, at no point in my whole journey, which was for 2 or 3 years, did I even think about not living. Neither did I think about dying or any of that. I didn't. And I didn't focus so much on myself or what I was going through, because my stuff was minor compared to what other people were going through, like my friend George, who had stage 4 colon cancer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it always helps to consider others, even in your situation, whatever situation that might be. Tony, how are you encouraging other men to get checked?
I encourage my family members. I encourage church members. I encourage my close friends to get annual physicals, to get checkups, make sure they get their heart checked, make sure that they check their colon, make sure that they check their prostate, because all these things are very important. But also, when you don't feel good in your body, go to a doctor, because that's what they're trained for, to help detect diseases and to help you. But just don't sit back and do nothing. You are important to your wife, to your girlfriend, to your boyfriend. You're important, your kids. So really do it for them if you don't want to do it for yourself.
Yeah, I think that's some sage advice, and we certainly appreciate you sharing your story. One final quick question for you, Tony. And again, thank you so much for being so brave to share your story on this type of platform. What support system did you have from beginning to end?
My wife is a prayer warrior. And I surround myself with a lot of Christians who pray and intercede for people. So I had close friends that were praying and interceding for me. I had my wife praying and interceding for me. I also was praying for myself, reading the Bible, claiming the promises from the Bible for my own personal healing. And it's my faith. All those things kept me and encouraged me during that time.
Well, we certainly, again, I can't tell you enough how we thank you, Tony Goodman, for sharing your courageous story and your ongoing battle with us and that of your friends. We appreciate it. Well, that'll be it for WIN TV. Stay tuned for Bridge TV with the media prints and sounds of the DMV, and be sure to join WIN TV every Friday at noon. You can also check out my show on the Black Press of America, the NNPA's social media channels, and right here at the Washington Informer's website as well. It's called Let It Be Known, and we air it every single morning, weekday morning, that is, at 7:30 a.m. Thanks for joining us, and let's turn it over to Bridge TV.
DC, Maryland, VA, and Waldorf. It's Friday, and just like any other Friday, I have the top trending topics of the DC area. Sit back, relax, and let's hear all the week of epicness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to What's Going On DC. What's happening? It's your boy, the Media Prince. Let's get this thing cranky. This week marks the 1-year anniversary of the Black Lives Matter Plaza mural, located in one of the nation's most important streets ever. And before you ask, didn't you say a few weeks ago that the mural was gone? Well, it's back, ladies and gentlemen. So go experience history, Black history. The summer no longer belongs to the city girls, the hot girls, or the city boys. Yeah, that's a thing. But instead it belongs to the cicadas, who has the city on lock right now. Hold up, I know you hear them. It is so many of them that now they are showing up on the weather radar. So expect to enjoy your summer plans outside with our new little friends. Recording artist DMV's own IDK releases the album cover for his new album, You See For Yourself, out July 9th. That's cancer season. Woo-woo. Speaking of IDK, he as well as Rigo Nasty, Zaman, Wale, Black Fortune, and Young Manny are all featured performers on Rollin' Loud New York City. I spoke on this last week about 3 of those artists being featured in the Cali edition. But to see 6 of our DMV acts grace this stage is a huge feat yet again for our DMV music industry. Clap it up. Let's keep it going with more DMV artists. Uncle John, who actually was on our platform for Sounds of the DMV, made it to yet another stage, this time Dame Dash Studios. We see you working, King. From It's Hard Out Here for a Pimp to It's a Hard Knock Life, DC's own Taraji P. Henson will star as Miss Hannigan on NBC's live musical of Annie. Hey, it's lit. Are you hungry watching this? Well, our favorite DMV restaurant, Roaming Rooster, just launched a breakfast menu. Hey, let's eat. And that's love right there news. DMV's own Made in the DMV, Sean Cooper, and Get Home Safe have partnered up for the Hug a Homie campaign, dedicated to checking in on our homies. But it's so much deeper than that. You can find out more now by heading over to their Instagram and see how you can join along. Now, we all saw the Rap Caviar list of the hip-hop rap Mount Rushmore. Well, it started quite a trend on social media, but I think we can all agree on ours. It's lit. Here's DMV's. Take a look. Keeping it on for real, he is to open schools for low-income families in Virginia, and that's major and commendable. DMV's own Maya lets us know her love is like woo, and she is back on stage with a virtual experience coming soon. Take a look. What you gonna do when she wants you back? So an epic launch just happened, and I had the pleasure of being there for two of DMV's iconic GOATs who have really helped me in my career. That's right, I'm talking about celebrity DJ and radio personality Jay Claxton and celebrity publicist and media curator Kaz Vaughn. But enough of me talking. I'm gonna let them fill you in on what just launched and why you need to be there.
The launch is Franchise Radio. Franchise Radio, it is it's a radio station that myself and Kaz Vaughn are controlling, and we're controlling this because feel like it is a lot of things that is missing in regular terrestrial commercial radio.
What I'm excited about our July launch is the fact that as culture creators, we have the opportunity to really push forth artists who may not necessarily get the attention that they need. So I'm excited that we'll be able to bring more of the YouTube artists in on the station so that everyone can hear them.
Right. And we're looking so forward to the first week of July. Like July is the big week for us because that's when Franchise Radio launches. That's when you'll hear all the new personalities, all the new DJs, all the new segments on Franchise Radio.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Another week of greatness. Well, for all of that and more, head over to wibridgedc.com and subscribe to our YouTube and on socials. Make sure you follow the hashtags WGODC and WIBridgeTMP style. And designers, if you want to see me in your fashions, get at me. The DMs and the emails are already going crazy. And I want to shout out some amazing talents of the DMV: Mammy Love, DC Music Summit, Sight Collections, Veronica McCormick, Devon Lesney, Raphael Tate, Dior Ashley Brown, and Experiment 301. Well, now, outside is open. I'm out. See y'all next week.
And I present to you the eighth wonder of the world, the most incredible, the most resilient, fresh off the plantation, the free black man. Yeah, I said it. The free black man. Look, now I ain't thinking about no white man. Listen, I'm a hype man. They tell me I'm oppressed every time I turn on C-SPAN. I just mind my business. I ain't thinking about policeman. Much more you should fear if you out here in these streets, fam. Niggas turn rat. They'll trap you for the cheese, fam. How this shit popping out the grease pan. Free man, free black. No chains on me, I don't need that. Little dough on me, yeah, I need that. Read that. Freedom papers. No, I ain't talking weed jack. I want all the smoke like weed jacks. 3 packs. I hear feelings but believe facts. Sick, I need a Z-pack. Running with my Z-pack. So much speed he could relapse. Was an outcast. It took 3 stacks for them not to see that. Now I don't give a damn if they see black. Never back down. I'm standing on Booker T back. W-E-B back. Just need your read black. If we knew our history, we know that we some free blacks. All lives matter, I could see that. Cause until black lives matter to us, I won't believe that. If that don't make me black, how do I be that? Please help me out, Joe Biden hit me back. Cause I ain't no slave to nobody but God. Guess you only really woke when you done with facades, huh? Look, I just told them follow the money. They convinced us if you rich and you black, that mean you lucky. That's a reflection on how you feel about your mommy, how you feel about your cousin. Your skin is black and it's lovely. With hard work, it's nothing the crackers keep it from me. It's racist in the race, so what? We keep running or complain about it and keep struggling. Saying you ain't your ancestors. Sir, you sound like a dummy. It's funny, while I was here following the blueprint, try canceling Jay for saying true shit. Obama said the same. All the statistics prove this. Black male fatherhood absence is the culprit. Is that cool shit? A gospel out the pulpit. Been the same since Ballad of the Bullet. Goodness, when they in the hood shit, I knew black lives mattered before they co-opted the movement. White folks out kissing feet. Shit is stupid. If you in the know, then you know this. Group economics still the motive. Look, I say, if you in the know, then you know this. Group economics still the motive. that's all pro all day. Hey, all pro all day.
A lot of folks, you know, we've been doing this 10 plus years, so I kind of lose count. But, you know, some of my favorite artists, I've opened for Devin the Dude, I've opened for Nas, the Rock the Bells tour. That was like all of my favorite artists ever. So I was Common, Talib, everybody was there. That was incredible. I've opened for Meek Mill, 2 Chainz. Probably ironically, my best performance or my most memorable performance in terms of opening up for somebody was probably the Logic show, because that was like right around the time he was popping. And I had never performed in front of that many kids. He had like a lot of kids at his shows, and their energy is just insanely different. They're just screaming at the top of their lungs the whole time. They had no idea who I was. They had no idea who my man lyricist at the time was. It's like they just was on 10, and the line was out the door. It was a bunch of crowd surfing going on. It was Odd Day back then was there. I think Chaz French was there. It was a lit show. It was really, really dope to see the whole DMV get a taste of that success and get to ride that wave for the night. We're not a music town, so that's really the biggest difference. We have incredible artists, we have incredible producers, but I don't feel like people are coming here for that purpose. A lot of the people that decide to come DC are not like, oh, I'm gonna chase my music dreams, let me move to DC so I can make it pop. So because of that, you know, the labels, the A&Rs, the people who push the buttons aren't normally here. In Atlanta, it's a little different. You can run into a lot of the people you see on TV. Open mics can literally change your life because of the people that frequent those locations. A lot of people move there for the purpose of doing music, so it's a lot of people that are focused on that specific thing. So it's a lot of people in Atlanta that's not from Atlanta, and that's like apparently nothing new, but everybody's there trying to make it happen, whether it be acting, whether it be music of any kind. So I just say it's more active because people feel like they're closer to the potential of getting on in Atlanta. So like there's a level of seriousness that's associated with the city and the music scene. And studios are always popping, and you can always find a studio. You can always find somebody trying to rap, somebody trying to sing. It's not a comparison in that sense, because when we was coming up, it was just like, what, 20 of us, 30 of us, maybe, and you know, we were doing what we knew how to do best, but we were the scene. You know what I'm saying? We kind of like, there was no real scene like that. There's a super scene down there, and I'm just trying to bring the PG energy down there and represent, you know, where I'm from and what we do, and you know, kind of like a new artist all over again, pretty much. Absolutely, new project, Brown Paper Bag, coming sooner than soon. I'm not gonna say a date because I don't want to lie to you, but just it's gonna be hot outside still. I'm gonna say that, to say the least. Also, the Blackjack project that I released with Bandwidth Studios, that's the label I'm working with out in Atlanta. Shout out to Willpower, PZ, the whole gang, Hood, DC, everybody. That Blackjack album is on all streaming platforms. You can check me out on there. That was a collaboration album we dropped late last year. So my solo album is coming up very soon. We're done. We're just trying to wait on the final mixes, and you know, we're doing that selection process and everything. But it's gonna be something. I'm just gonna let the music speak for itself. Social media is all pro all day, everything. So anywhere you want to find me, it's all pro all day.